Shalom. Last week we concluded Sefer Breshit, Genesis, the book of creation, in our yearly Torah reading cycle. This Shabbat, we begin Sefer Shemot, the book of Exodus, with the reading of its first portion, Parashat Shemot. The opening verses of our portion chronicle a new reality, the transition, the transformation of the family of Israel that had been made up of individuals into a populous nation. The children of Israel were fruitful, teemed, increased, and became strong, very, very much so, and the land became filled with them. This book is called by the great sage Ramban the Book of Redemption, but light can only be appreciated when emerging from darkness. Thus, the Book of Redemption begins with the descent into the very heart of darkness, as Galut Mitzrayim, the bitter and torturous Egyptian exile, now closes in on the people of Israel. Joseph and his brothers and that entire generation have died, and with their passing, the Pharaoh began a program of systematic subjugation, deprivation, and murder, designed to not only destroy this nation, but to destroy their mission, to banish the presence of God from the world and destroy man's hope of redemption. Galut Mitzrayim was the first exile decreed by God, and we would be well advised to study it with the knowledge that it's the root and the archetype of all exile, personal, national, and global. And the Exodus was the root of every future redemption as well. This concept of Geula, redemption, is God's ultimate plan for all humanity, as promised and confirmed by every prophet of Israel. And our understanding of God's promise through the prophet Micha in chapter 7 and verse 15, as in the days of your exodus from the land of Egypt, I will show him wonders, is that the miracles of that future redemption will vastly outshine even the spectacular wonders of the exodus from Egypt. Egypt in Hebrew is Mitzrayim, literally narrowness. It's the oppression of constriction. It's the concealment of God that chokes the very life out of this world. It's the destruction caused by the fear of unchecked imagination that clouds the mind with dread and doubt. Redemption is the true emancipation from these constraints of evil, the freedom that the revelation of the reality of God will bring into this world. This is the goal of creation and the destiny of mankind, not only of Israel, but the whole world. The ultimate perfection of the human condition to which all people aspire and hope, and towards which, under the direction of the Creator, history advances, sometimes slowly and sometimes remarkably fast. It's a process that features many stages, many ups and downs, repetitive cycles that we all have to go through of bondage and suffering and expanses and freedom. So, this new king arises who did not know Yosef. He does not acknowledge that it was the righteous Yosef who saved his nation from certain death. And this new Pharaoh is the first to refer to Israel as a nation. And he's concerned about this newly, rapidly emerging nation because he knows that this is a people with a divinely chartered mandate that will be charged to change the course of history, to change the world and bring enlightenment, to teach the knowledge of God and bring it within the reach of all humanity, to bring redemption to the world. This doesn't fit in with Pharaoh's agenda, so he issues decrees, exhausting, debilitating hard labor, whose goal was to afflict them, and as Midrash informs us, whose real goal was to prevent marital relations, so as to stop them from multiplying. To the physical abuse, he added various forms of psychological warfare. Yet, as Torah tells us, as they afflicted them, so they multiplied, and so they increased, till finally he decreed death on all the male children. Verse 11 tells us, so they appointed taskmasters over the nation in order to afflict it with their burdens. These taskmasters in Hebrew are called sarim misim or nukshim. Later we encounter the shotrim. These are the officers or foremen of the people. So let's get this straight. Who are these men? The taskmasters are Egyptian, and the officers are of the children of Israel. One taskmaster, Egyptian, was appointed over 10 officers, and one officer was appointed over 10 Jews. The officers are to be a buffer between the Egyptians and the people. In the beginning of chapter 5, Moshe and Aaron appear before Pharaoh for the first time and deliver the demand of Hashem, the God of Israel, send out my people. Pharaoh refuses, saying, who is Hashem that I should heed his voice to send out Israel? I do not know Hashem, nor will I send out Israel. And from that moment, the king of Egypt increased the burden on the people of Israel, withholding from them the straw needed for the manufacture of bricks, but holding them responsible to produce the same daily quota. The people are lazy, he says, lazy. Therefore they cry out, saying, let us go and bring offerings to our God. Let the work be heavier upon the men, and let them engage in it, and let them not pay attention to false words. The taskmasters and the foremen told the people in Pharaoh's name that they had to find straw for themselves, and so the people were in great distress, having to spread out throughout the entire land of Egypt in search of straw. The Egyptian taskmasters pressed the people to complete their daily quotas as before, in the good old days when there was straw, but it was impossible. And this was the hierarchy. The Egyptian taskmasters were appointed over Jews who were selected to be foremen, the shotrim, officers of the people. And these foremen were responsible for the rest of the people. The foremen reported directly to the taskmasters. So what does the Torah tell us? And the officers of the children of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had appointed over them, were beaten, saying, "Why have you not completed your quota to make bricks like the day before yesterday, neither yesterday nor today?" So the officers of the children of Israel came and cried out to Pharaoh, saying, "Why do you do this to your servants? Stubble is not given to your servants, but they tell us, 'Make bricks.' And behold, your servants are beaten, and your people are sinning." But he said, "You're lazy, just lazy. Therefore you say, 'Let us go and bring an offering to the Lord.' And now, go and work, but you will not be given stubble. Nevertheless, the same number of bricks you must give." So understand what's going on here. After the new directive that the people would no longer receive straw from the Egyptians, after that directive was issued, the taskmasters came and took a daily tally of brick production and found the quota to be lacking. But read these verses and open up your heart in the deepest way. It was the foremen of the children of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had appointed over them, who tried themselves to make up the shortfall. And when the number was found to be missing, these foremen were beaten. The taskmasters flogged and beat the Jewish foremen and said, "Why didn't you complete your requirement to make today, like yesterday and like the day before?" And with great dedication, these officers took the blows with their own bodies, with all their hearts, saying, "Better for the blows to fall upon us if we can protect the people from being beaten." So open up your heart deeper than ever before in your life to listen to something so deep it's unbelievable. Later, we learn how, in the book of Numbers, in verse 16 of chapter 11, God tells Moshe to form what becomes known as the Sanhedrin. He tells Moshe, "Gather to me 70 men from the elders of Israel, and he will increase some of the spirit that is upon him and place it upon them." But as Midrash teaches, Moshe was unsure who to gather. And he said before God, "Who should I choose for this role? How can I know who is worthy?" So Hashem told him, "Gather for me 70 men from the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people and its officers." The ones that you know, those very officers who took the blows for their people, who preferred to take that suffering upon themselves rather than see their people hurt further, it's they who became the nation's first leaders, to whom God apportioned his spirit of divine inspiration, as it had been upon Moshe. Because their willingness for self-sacrifice, their compassion and dedication to their brethren was so great, Hashem told him, "They shall bear the burden of the people with you, and you shall not bear alone." Our sages teach that these words instruct us that Hashem looked upon them as being equal to Moshe. And this teaches us that whoever acts in this manner of selfless dedication will merit to greatness and divine inspiration. Because they saw and shared in the suffering of Israel, God decreed that they were worthy of divine inspiration and leadership. This book of redemption begins with exile because we cannot understand redemption unless we understand exile. A key to understanding these cycles can be found in the prophet Jeremiah's words in verse 7 of chapter 30, where Jeremiah prophesies, "It will be a time of trouble for Jacob, but he shall be saved from it." The great Vilna Gaon teaches us the deep meaning of these words. He shall be saved from it. The deliverance emerges as a product of the suffering itself. Our situations of crisis reveal our potential. A person's inner strengths which lay dormant and are not normally revealed when all is well, when a person is complacent, they're forced to the surface in times of adversity. And from the very depths of the time of trouble, we are saved. The story of the Egyptian bondage and Hashem's miraculous deliverance of Israel from its depths is a cornerstone of Torah faith. Why is it reckoned as one of the Torah's commandments to remember the going out of Egypt every single day of our lives? Why do we repeat it twice daily in the Shema prayer? Why does Hashem remind us so many times throughout Torah that we were slaves in Egypt? For each and every one of us, our deliverance beckons to us from within our crisis. As our true selves, our essence, our potential shines forth, enabling and empowering us to journey from exile to redemption. Thank you for watching this week's Jerusalem Lights Torah portion, and thank you for being a part of our Jerusalem Lights community. May we all merit to realize our inner potential in our journey from exile to redemption. We appreciate your support that enables the continuation of these teachings and strengthens our mission of Torah for everyone. Shabbat Shalom.